if we are intentional with all these parties, instead of being kind of dragged along to them, and some of them we're excited about and some of them would really rather not go to at all, if we're intentional about these gatherings, there's a very good chance that they can be lead generating opportunities. What's happening? JC Agajanian here, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group and member of the Fast Forward Network. And we do a Monday Morning Mastermind every week, and I am here to recap it for you. And today we've got 3 great topics to go over for you. The first one is, how are you busy agents staying consistent now that it's December and everybody is crazy busy? The next one is, what are you doing to get your YouTube videos to rank well? And finally, what lead gen tools are you working with right now in this time of year as people are shifting their focus from buying and selling real estate to what are they going to wear at their next party? So let's get straight into it. The first topic is staying consistent in December. So you know what? You could kind of apply this to maybe a working mom in the summertime when she's got the kids on her hands, or for people, who are just slammed this time of year getting ready for travel and vacations and seeing family and all the stuff that's going on. The plethora of Christmas parties, etc. So, one of the first things that was mentioned by one of the contributors was to not forget to take advantage of things that you can pay for instead of doing them yourselves. There's tons of gift wrap services, there's meal prep companies, there's delivery services, there's all kinds of things in this day and age that we now have access to that you can pay, and for the most part, pretty affordably pay for, to free yourself up of time. Because in the end, that's kind of the point of this whole thing anyways, right? Like, the whole reason everybody wants to win the lottery and never have to work again is so they can do what they want with their days. So maybe we're not winning the lottery or selling, millions of dollars worth of commissions every year, but we can do what we can here to take back some of that time with the money that we have earned. And this is a great way to do it. So be effective with your timing, and when appropriate, outsource the work that you need to do. The obvious one that everybody was thinking is to really work on your time blocking. Stick to your calendar, dial it in, and if you need to, seek out accountability. Find a partner, figure out what you need to do to make sure that you are doing what you intend to do and not what just happens during the day. Another thing that we can really take advantage of this time of year is the social outings that we're all a part of, the things that I mentioned just a minute ago, right? So if we are intentional with all these parties, instead of being kind of dragged along to them when some of them we're excited about and some of them would really rather not go to at all, if we're intentional about these gatherings, there's a very good chance that they can be lead generating opportunities, especially if we run off to the bathroom or step aside. Make sure to plug this information into your CRM, make a note about it, and then do your follow-up when the time is appropriate, right? So we can actually be generating leads at these parties and get-togethers and all the different things that keep us so busy this time of year. Take advantage of it and actually make that a lead generating tool for you. So that was a great tip from one of our contributing agents on the call. Another, novel concept: be prepared before you go to the office. Kind of goes back to the time blocking thing. Let's know what we're going to do when we get there so we don't waste time while we're actually in the office. It's bad enough that we've got all of personal stuff tugging at us. When we are actually suited and booted and ready to get some work done, are you making the most of it? Or is it a lot of water cooler chat? Are we chit-chatting? Are we telling war stories? What are we doing while we're actually in the office? Let's make the most of it so there's not those wasted 20, 30, 40-minute blocks that kind of slip away from us, and we look at the clock and go, oh, what happened there? Another great tip from a top producer was to be highly critical of the meetings you've agreed to and the commitments you've made on that calendar that we're talking about. So basically, the idea is to take a look at everything you've got going on through the lens of, is this going to be a dollar productive activity? Is this going to be a meeting that really helps me push towards the goals that I have set out? Or is this something I agreed to out of obligation or some other sort of peer pressure or just being nice? Is this something that is really not going to serve me in my business in a time when time is so crunched anyways, go through your calendar. And maybe you need to cancel on some people. Kind of stinks, but could be good for you. And really what we're talking about is how to make the most of your activities in this holiday time of year. So maybe some things need to get canceled. Take a look at it and look through that lens that we talked about. It might change the way you look at some of the commitments that you've made. Like I said earlier, getting serious accountability is a big way. I mean, and it's only going to go as far as you take it. But if you connect with somebody and you guys make an agreement that there's actually going to be some sort of penalty or financial cost if you don't follow through on what you want yourself to do now, you want your future self to do, that's a great way to do it. And there's different tools that you can use. There's even apps out there that you put your credit card information in and ahead of time. And if things don't get done, boom, it automatically deducts a certain amount. Or there's lots of different ways you can do this, but real accountability, not just, hey, let me check in with my friend from the office once in a while, but for real, real accountability will help you be highly productive no matter what time of year it is. Another agent actually kind of commented on the topic of time management as more about choice management than time management. And so we kind of like I'm saying, being critical of your calendar and looking at what you've committed to, let's take a step back and analyze what we've agreed to and what we say no to, and really think about the choices we're making. So that's most of it on really being productive this time of year. We're going to move on to the next question, was a topic of a very technical one. We kind of got off into the weeds for a while, but getting your YouTube videos to rank is a huge topic. We could probably do a whole mastermind just on this topic alone. One of the great tips, something that I've been using for a long time, that I learned from our media and marketing manager in the Whissel office, is to use TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is great for subject lines, great for video ideas, great for optimizations. You can even take old videos and throw them into TubeBuddy and change thumbnails, change subject lines, and repost them, and they will do better than they did before. It's a great tool. I believe it has a free version. I can't remember. It definitely has a paid version, but TubeBuddy is a great tool for just optimizing your YouTube videos that you're making. But one of the questions on this subject was specific to listing videos and why they're not getting better views. And the general response was, listing videos are not really going to go viral. I mean, some people are interested in them. Your sellers are definitely interested in them. But most people are interested in topics that you can find on Google. And YouTube is, don't forget, primarily a search site, It's Google's video version of Google. That's what YouTube is. They purchased it years ago, maybe decades ago. It's been a long time. They didn't start it, but they've turned it into the video arm of the Google search engine, and that's what it is. So figure out what trends are happening. There's even a thing called Google Trends that you can go to see what trends are taking place. You can use TubeBuddy, like I said, and come up with topics something that somebody's going to be interested in, like how to sell a home without a realtor. Or maybe you focus on informing people about all the details and info about a specific neighborhood. And if you do these types of videos, these are going to be what we call evergreen, meaning they're not just appropriate, in 2021 when COVID is a serious issue, because right now we're not talking about COVID as much, right? So we're talking about evergreen videos that are going to be able to stand the test of time and still be interesting to people now and 5-10 years from now. So those are great ways to build your channel and to actually get better views. So on the same line of thought, with that same concept in mind, before worrying too much about your view count and how many clicks you're getting, we need to really think about what your goal is for this clip, and who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to tell them, right? Because the platform that you're making video content for is used for different things. So people are going to YouTube for very different reasons than people are going to Instagram, which is different than reasons people are going to Twitter or TikTok or whatever else. So we need to really figure it out. One example was just in making, let's take the same video for Instagram. Well, they're going to edit out that intro of who you are, because people are finding you on Instagram largely, unless it's a reel or something. They already know who you are. They follow you. They don't need an introduction. It's there. So just do the video, right? But if it's on YouTube or possibly some other platforms, that might be more appropriate, because maybe they just stumbled across you and never encountered you or your content before. So really understand what you're making, who you're making it for, and then which platform you put it on, and optimize all of that. There's a lot going on in this topic, and we really could have, like I said, parked it here and talked forever about it. But the general idea is that most of the top creators are customizing their channels for specific audiences, and we had one agent with great presence in Southern California in the Empire, and he was saying that he's got a channel dedicated to generating buyer leads. He's got one that's really just real estate news, so he's doing market updates and things of that nature on that channel. And he's got a whole different one that is more of a coaching platform, introducing people to concepts like this, like, how are we going to get better and grow? And he's just really fine-tuning each channel, almost like a channel on your cable network would be. You got the food people and you got the construction people, whatever it is. So take that mentality with your YouTube channel, and be aware of where that listing video is appropriate and where it's not, basically. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. There's a great book on that called YouTube Secrets that was mentioned in our mastermind. And just give people that local info that you're interested in, that you're selling in, and go from there. But really, there's a lot of stepping back, figuring out what you're trying to accomplish with what kind of clips you're creating, and then figuring out how to reach those people and on which platform. So that was the biggest thought process on the response to getting your YouTube videos to rank. So let's move along to the third question for this morning's mastermind, which is, what lead generation tools are working well for you right now? Of course, we've got the winter time. We've got the market that has changed. So what's going on? Well, most of them are still working well. There's not really a silver bullet. There's not a trick that works, as you lead up to the end of the year, but it doesn't work other times of the year. You generate leads and you got to follow up hard. You got to hit them 15, 20 times before you're going to make contact and probably booking appointments. Like that's not a trick. That's not really anything different now than last summer or this coming summer. People are still getting divorced. People are still getting married. People are still getting hired. People are still getting fired. People are getting relocated from their jobs. People are falling ill. People are aging out into senior homes. All these various types of people that you can run marketing ads and generate leads into specific niches, they're all still there this time of year. That hasn't gone away. It's just a matter of making sure that you're consistent with whatever it is that you're going to do and what you're focusing on, and then following it up with really good follow-up, with a good CRM, with good habits that don't fail because you get busy and then you've forgotten to do some follow-up. It happens every day regardless. And that goes back to our first question, which is talking about our calendar and making sure that it is time blocked well. One agent said that he's gotten good response from snail mail, like actual letter writing campaigns, not postcards, recently. So that was interesting. Online leads are still working. You got pay-per-click, you got on Google, you've got Facebook ads, all these things. Another agent said that she just pulls new client events out of her butt all the time. She just creates things and then she follows through. She creates a system out of them, but like she just came up with an idea to make like a raffle or a drawing, and the winner will get, an in-home Santa visit for photos and for the kids to say what they want for Christmas and all that stuff. And she had a huge response, and she pulled a drawing, and I think they went to 2 or 3 homes or something like that. It wasn't anything major, but they got a ridiculous amount of entries and leads. And actually, the first house they walked into, the parents of this kid said, "Hey, we're thinking about moving on. We'd like to rent this house out and buy a new one. You think you can help us with that?" I mean, come on. It's an amazing story right there. And she's just being creative, thinking about client events that maybe she hasn't run before, she hasn't heard of anybody else running before. So getting creative with client events. She also just said, hey, I just thought about another one that I'm going to be doing, and I haven't got it fleshed out yet, but I'm going to be doing ladies and lattes, and we're going to, rent out a coffee truck, or we're going to maybe meet at a coffee shop. And, it's going to be, just a group of women with common interests doing coffee. And she's just going to run with that. So like coming up with client events, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be tons of people. And it doesn't even have to be a big event. The first thing is just a raffle. She didn't really have to see anybody, but she got all this interest and all these leads, and it just resulted in only a few actual meetings of people walking Santa through a couple homes. So that's a client event that's kind of a non-event, which is kind of cool. Of course, open houses are still working, but you've got to work them correctly. Of course, Sphere, referral are still working. All these things are still working right now. It's a matter of going back to what we said in the first question, staying on your game, despite the fact that you're inundated with parties, you're inundated with travel, you're inundated with planning to get away. You still got a calendar that you got to work, and it's not going to work unless you work it. And so your open houses, your Sphere, your follow-up on events, your follow-up on leads generated online, whatever the source is, none of it matters if you don't have the time to work it. So make sure you've got a great nurture campaign to follow up with these people. Because even in an open house or something, or sometimes in referrals, they're not always looking to do something right here and now. Sometimes they are. But for the most part, that nurture is going to be required. And you got to be able to do it and not let things fall through the cracks. So that's all I got for you today. I hope that you find this helpful, and that there's some piece of what we had to talk about today that you can pull and implement into your business. And if you want to talk about any of this or need more information on any of the topics I brought up, feel free to reach out and you can send me a DM right here. Talk to you soon. Thanks.